In the vast kingdom of Zozo, nestled within the arid plains and rolling savanna of the north, there was a princess whose beauty and wisdom were unmatched. Zara, the only daughter of Saken Zozo, King Osman, was often compared to the moon that guided weary travelers at night. Her jet-black hair shimmered like the depths of a hidden well, her eyes glistened like the first drops of rain after a drought, and her words carried the weight of wisdom beyond her years. From the moment she came of age, suitors from every corner of the land flocked to the palace gates. Merchants came with caravans of gold, warriors boasted of their conquest, and princes pledged vast alliances. Yet, Zara remained unmoved. She valued character over wealth and deeds over words. Though polite to all, she quietly observed the hearts of those who sought her hand. Her father, King Osman, was a just and discerning ruler. He saw in his daughter a mirror of his own ideals, strength tempered with compassion. However, the incessant rivalry among the suitors began to disrupt the peace of the kingdom. Factions formed, whispers of discontent grew, and the air around the palace grew tense. One evening, under the shade of a great baobab tree, Zara approached her father. "Father," she said, her voice steady, "I cannot choose a husband from among those who come with empty boasts and treasures. If I am to marry, it must be someone who proves their worth through deeds, not words." King Osman nodded, his expression contemplative. "Then let us test them," he replied. "We shall separate the wheat from the chaff." The king's decree. The next morning, the king summoned all the suitors to the grand Durbar hall. The room buzzed with anticipation as the suitors, dressed in their finest robes, awaited the king's pronouncement. Zara sat beside her father, her face calm but watchful. King Osman rose, his voice cutting through the chatter like a blade. "I have heard your pledges and seen your gifts. Yet, none of this prove your worth. To marry my daughter, you must first prove yourself worthy of her." A murmur spread through the crowd. "The task," the king continued, "is to recover the Ameria stone, a sacred gem of our ancestors. It is said to be hidden deep within the Gobi Mountains, guarded by spirits and challenges that only the brave and pure of heart can overcome. Whoever brings back the stone shall earn my daughter's hand." The suitors exchanged uneasy glances. The Ameria stone was legendary, not just for its beauty but for its elusiveness. Many doubted its very existence. The suitors set out. Despite their doubts, the suitors could not refuse the king's challenge. Caravans were prepared, warriors gathered their supplies, and prayers were offered for safe journeys. Each suitor tried to outdo the other in their preparations. Horses adorned with golden bridles, servants carrying provisions, and even griots singing praises accompanied the wealthier suitors. Amid this spectacle was Umaru, a humble farmer from a small village at the kingdom's edge. He had no servants, no wealth, and no fine robes, only a small satchel containing dried millet, a water skin, and a walking staff. "Why do you bother, Umaru?" mocked one of the suitors, a pompous merchant draped in silk. "You can't impress the king with your rags." Umaru smiled, unbothered by the ridicule. "It is not silk that will find the Ameria stone, but sincerity and perseverance," he replied. Zara, watching from a hidden balcony, was intrigued. While the other suitors vied for attention, Umaru quietly set off on his journey. Trials along the way. The road to the Gobi Mountains was long and perilous. The suitors faced scorching heat during the day and biting cold at night. Bandits prowled the trails, and food became scarce. One by one, the weaker or greedier suitors abandoned the quest, choosing the comfort of home over the uncertainty of the mountains. Umaru, however, pressed on, often helping others along the way. One evening, he came across a young warrior whose horse had fallen and broken its leg. While others ignored the man, Umaru stopped, shared his water, and helped the warrior continue on foot. Another time, he encountered a merchant whose caravan had been raided by bandits. The merchant sat by the roadside, despondent. Umaru gave him a portion of his own food, saying, "A hungry man cannot think clearly. Eat, and then find your way back to safety." These acts of kindness did not go unnoticed. Unknown to Umaru, Zara had sent one of her trusted servants to secretly follow the suitors and report back their deeds. Each time Umaru showed compassion, the servant took note. The Gobi Mountains. After weeks of hardship, the remaining suitors finally reached the Gobi Mountains, a jagged range that loomed like a fortress against the horizon. At the base of the mountains stood an ancient woman draped in tattered robes, her eyes sharp and penetrating. "To enter the sacred cave, you must answer a riddle," she declared, her voice as steady as the wind. The suitors gathered around, eager yet apprehensive. The old woman began, "What is more precious than gold, yet weighs nothing?" The suitors whispered among themselves. "It must be love," one guessed. "Or power," said another. Yet, one by one, their answers were rejected. Finally, Umaru stepped forward. He knelt before the woman and said, "It is a good name. A good name weighs nothing but is worth more than all the gold in the world. It is earned through kindness, honesty, and courage." The old woman smiled, her eyes gleaming. "You have answered wisely. Enter, but tread carefully, for the cave tests not only your mind but your heart." The heart of the cave. Inside the cave, Umaru found himself in complete darkness. Yet, as he walked, a soft, otherworldly glow began to illuminate the path. At the center of the cave lay the Ameria stone, pulsating with a light as warm as the sun. As Umaru reached out to take it, a voice echoed through the cavern. "Why do you seek me?" Umaru paused, his hand hovering over the stone. "I seek you not for wealth or glory," he said, "but because my heart calls me to do what is right. If I am unworthy, let me leave empty-handed." The light grew brighter, and in an instant, the stone transformed into Zara herself. "You have passed the test," she said, her smile radiant. The Ameria stone was never a jewel but a measure of character. "Your kindness, courage, and humility have proven you worthy. A kingdom rejoices." When Umaru returned to Zozo with Zoro by his side, the entire kingdom erupted in celebration. The other suitors, ashamed of their greed and arrogance, quietly slipped away. King Osman, overjoyed, embraced Umaru as his son. "You have shown what it means to be a true leader," the king declared. "May your union bring prosperity to our land." Zora and Umaru were married in a grand ceremony under the open sky, with the people of Zozo singing songs of their journey. Together, they ruled with wisdom and compassion, their story inspiring generations to value integrity over wealth. Thus, the jewel of the north found her equal, and the kingdom flourished under their reign.